let's talk a little bit about the Bad Batch, the last couple of weeks and where we think we're gonna go. So the Bad Batch retired. The Bad Batch retired. So
Hmm.
that means we wrapped up, baby. We wrapped. Uh, what did
Bro,
you
oh
think?
my god.
What did you think of the last two
What was
weeks?
it? Last week's episode, I fell asleep during the episode. I fell asleep and I woke up and like I think it was like the first season was playing. I was like, oh man, I gotta go back and watch all that again. So I went back and watched all of it again, and I was so bored. Oh my god. I watched the Bad Batch do chores for a solid 30 minutes. Oh, I never thought I'd see the day where I'd watch like people do chores in Star Wars for a solid 30 minutes.
Yeah, very boring episode. I will say probably we're on a stretch from like episode 7 or 8 to like 12 at that point where we just had bangers, I think, like really, really
Yeah, really
good.
good
Some
ones.
of my favorite um stories and just continuations of stories. So it's like a good tonal shift, I guess I would say, like good like mediator point between that and the end of the season. Obviously not like that good of an episode. Like I really don't care about this island. I'm sorry.
I don't
Um
care about this one lady too. Though I think they're trying to get into like the relationship with Tech.
Fee. Fee
Yeah,
is her name, right? Yeah.
see, I don't even know, bro. I just know is that one lady who helps the Bad Batch. One lady who helps the Bad Batch. I have no interest in her character. She's so boring. Every scoundrel we've ever seen, so she's not interesting. I don't think she brings anything interesting to the group besides her being with Tech. But at the same time, I don't want her with Tech because like Tech doesn't need a love interest. Not saying like he doesn't deserve him, but like I kind of just don't see the point of him having a boring love interest like that.
Right.
And then like the people on this island, like big bald dude, it seems like he's just a friend for Wrecker. It seems like they're just trying to like get the Bad Batch like take like settle down and like oh this person gonna be friends, this person gonna be together. Where they chose like the most boring people to do it.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, I feel like they're just trying. I will say they've done a lot. They've taken good criticism. They've tried to give Tech a character arc. I like this. They've tried to give Tech the more emotional side. He's very analytical, very critical thinker. Kind of lacks emotion, or he will say things in the face of understanding how people feel because he knows it's logically right, but like maybe it's not the right thing to say to a person.
Mhm.
But I like how they're trying to involve him and make him more emotional as like the galaxy evolves, and he can be that. And he's not just a soldier. Hunter, I feel like he's arced out. I don't know what his character arc is at this point. It kind of he wants to retire. Does he want to continue to do this? Um, and I have no idea what Wrecker is at this point. He is just there. Like this dude is just there. He has had no like zero. I mean like zero character development. He's maybe like said the same 5 lines every episode. It's actually crazy. Uh he's like, I'm hungry. I'm like, okay. And then he goes, rawr. And then like it's like I'm like, what am I watching? Um, but that's it. That episode it happened. There was a tsunami. Whatever.
But was that soon?
Uh,
I thought it was like a. I thought. See, that's how much I don't remember. I thought it was like a freaking beast or something that caused like earthquakes or something. That's how much I don't remember that episode.
nah, it was like a tsunami, and yeah.
Mm.
Again, some some Star Wars structures are very weird.
Mhm.
Why, when you have an island like that? I understand they explain like it doesn't happen for thousands of years, but still, why would you build a lower part where you know a tsunami can take it out? I just do not understand why people do this stuff.
Yeah.
Just why? Why? Come on now. Come on now.
I did hear a theory though that this island, because have they named the planet this island's on?
No. Are you gonna say it's become Scarif?
Yeah, people have like because it looks like they show like an outside shot of the planet. It looks like identical to Scarif. Like the islands look like they're in the same positions as like Scarif.
Oh, that's sad. That's sad, but that would be cool. That's
That
sad, but
would be
that would
cool.
be cool.
That'd be funny if a tsunami takes out like take out their village and it's the thing that takes out the Imperial base. That's ironic.
Yeah. All right. Episode number 14. This is why. I think the show has a possibility to be great. Heavily focused on the clones and what's going on with their story. We've really reached the tipping point of what is going on with them. They're being arrested now and being tested on Tantus. Um, and we see Rex, and we see Rex has this whole uh, network of people working within the Empire, has his own clones that have already left that are trying to get these clones. We see Hauser again. Um, a very, very good episode, and it's just what I said to myself, this is what the show should have been. It honestly should have focused on, I think, Rex. I honestly think the follow-up should have just focused on Rex and what was going on there, uh, and him building this network, recovering clones, recovering this information. You could still have the Bad Batch. You still could have had what was going on with them during this time, but just not have them as the titular characters of the show. Um, but I think it was a really, really well done episode. I didn't even touch on Crosshair, but what did you think of that aspect of Rex recovering other clones and that whole clone network and what's going on with the clones on Tantus?
I really like that. I'm happy that Echo's doing something after all this time of him being like silenced in season one, getting a little bit more stuff in season like in the beginning of season two. He's finally, I feel like, where he's supposed to be. Like we know where I think everybody's kind of wanted him for a long time. And so I really like what they're doing with this character now. I was still happy to see Hauser back. It's like I really liked Hauser in season one. He was one of my favorite episodes of that season. His episode, and yeah, I think like the whole thing of like a clone network is cool. It's just sad to know that it's like gonna be in like just it's inevitable. That's just gonna fail, and that's just gonna be real sad.
Yeah, right. Because we see Gregor, and then we see a couple other clones that we don't know. They're
Mhm.
named, but we just don't know them, and we don't know where they go. But all these clones like are gonna die. So like it's
Yo, I don't want to see Hauser die. I'm gonna be so mad.
um it's weird too. I thought they were gonna have Cody, but they didn't do that. I don't know what's up with
Yeah,
him.
where the heck did bro go? Like,
Where did bro go? I'm starting to think he might be dead.
I think
He might.
it's either he's dead or he's on Tantus. Like they caught him and he's on Tantus.
Yeah, I could definitely see that as well. Honestly, I could definitely see that as well. But it's really interesting. We got this exiled public scientist who is now heading the operation on Tantus, and he's experimenting on clones. Obviously, they're very interested in clone tech. Very. I'm just putting this together now, honestly. Obviously a Palpatine connection. And they want Omega really, really bad. What do you think's going on Tantus? What do you think's up? There's obviously more to it than just having these clones as prisoners, as traitors to the Empire.
Yeah. To what's going on there, I'm honestly not sure. Maybe it, like I said, probably like connection to sequel trilogy stuff to make that make sense. Which I'm fine with, to be honest. But I'm not sure. I just kind of hoping like my main goal like for the end of this whole plot line. I hope the Doctor has like an established. I hope he isn't killed off. I hope he has like an established position for the future. Because I feel like it'd be kind of like a waste to introduce this guy and waste him. Like he's the perfect character to play now. In, like something like the Mandalorian season 3. Now that Pershing's gone, absolutely perfect to put it. Like he fit very nicely. So that's my main thing. It's like I kind of want to see where like the Doctor's character goes from this point on, and like what he's cloning, like what he's using for the clones for. The only problem I have is that they're doing the same exact thing they did in last season's finale. We need Omega back at this location, and it's a rescue mission. Before that, to rescue Omega. This time, not to rush Crosshair, but like same thing. They need Omega for something, which it's kind of sad that they're just returning to that plot point. But I mean, I guess it's whatever.
Yeah, I get that for sure, 100%. I agree with you about the Imperial scientist. There just seems to be, I think it's a really well done evil scientist almost. Like he's very calculated. Um, he's smart, and he'll like bend the needle a little bit. Like he is not afraid. He's very authoritative. He will use science for bad mechanisms, right? He obviously being an imperial scientist, a willing imperial scientist, he's willing to do bad things, which is interesting because as somebody who myself am in science, I want to do good things with science. So it's always really fascinating to me when you see like somebody who's like an evil scientist. Why did they want to do this? And it's obviously a power thing, an authority thing, and that's why he's doing it. But I think what they're going with this is, I think why they just have the clones is, again, they're trying to study the Kaminoan DNA, but they really can't get anything from the generic template, so they need Omega because Omega is the original
Yeah, she's like a
strand.
1-for-1 copy.
She's the 1-for-1 copy, which also is like still weird they haven't mentioned Boba, but like who are they gonna send to get Boba at this
Yeah,
point?
they probably like, bro, we don't want to deal with all that. But at the same time, like they just recently found out that Omega's alive. It's like you might have like been made want to think, you're like, you know what, guys, I know we're gonna have to devote all of our resources, but like this Omega kid's dead. Only hope is Boba Fett. Like we gotta track him down.
Right. Also, like, I mean, I know Boba Fett probably at this time is like 16, 17, probably on the way to being the best bounty
Yeah.
hunter in the galaxy, probably close to it at this point.
No,
Uh,
Academy is still alive, so he's still inferior.
uh, but at this point, wait. So I have a question then. So when does Boba become the best bounty hunter?
I think Cad Bane goes into retirement and does that just because I'm a big Cad Bane fanboy, and there's no way that like it's so stupid what they do with Cad Bane, bro. Oh my god, he should not be as much as I love him. He should not be alive right now because Boba's the best bounty hunter of his time. It's establishing Empire Strikes Back.
Right.
But then you have
But
Cad
then
Bane, huh?
Then to have him alive all the way until like the Book of
Until
Boba Fett.
Book of Boba Fett, like Cad Bane, they say in Clone Wars, is the best bounty hunter of his time by far. Like not even by like, oh, this Bosca's like right there. The Cad Bane's like right there. It's like, nah, he's like the best bounty hunter by far.
Right.
This man was like scrapping with Jedi. He almost 2v1 Obi-Wan and Quinlan Voss in one.
Yep. Yeah.
And so
he had fun doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like, and now it's just like, oh, he's still alive. So like, does Cad Bane go into retirement for a little bit? Does he like get like such like a big injury where it's like off the grid? It's just it's stupid how he's alive. They should have killed him or like made some excuse to where he dies early on in Book of Boba Fett.
Right. I get that for sure. But like, yeah, if you're the Empire and you really needed Boba, you could just send like 4 like Imperial starships and like he couldn't do anything about it.
Yeah, that bro's
like,
just like flying. He gets like hyperdrived all of a sudden.
Right.
Sorry, tractor beamed.
Right. Also, it's like a thing in the Empire Strikes Back where like you have Vader right there, and Palpatine could be like, "Hey, can you just like grab him? I need him for something like down the line."
Like his blood for like 5 seconds, bro. Like we'll pay him really not. Like he'll never need to do a job again with the money we're about to get.
Right. Yeah, that's true. But Omega's just I mean, Omega's not even an easier target at this point. She has like 4 or 5 plus other clones protecting her.
Yeah, you've seen said clones like solo whole bases.
Right, correct. Yeah, the optics of that actually doesn't seem really good. I would go after Boba.
Yeah, and it seems like to Omega right now, it's just a plot device. Like that's what she is as of right now. She's just a plot device.
Yeah, I feel like we've been lacking development with her. Also, it feels like we've done a little bit with her learning how to fly ships, becoming more capable, more comparable. Her camaraderie with the rest of the team, Tech, especially. But yeah, right now I'm just interested to learn more about. There's something about her that has to even separate her from Boba and the rest of the clones because she is a girl. Like she is a 1-for-1 copy, but she is a girl. She's not like Jango.
Yeah.
It's also, I really think they're gonna go the route that she knew Boba. Like they were kind of close.
I mean, they were both on Kamino, like just kind of chilling around.
Right. So I feel like they got to go that route. And then we know the last 2 episodes are like Plan 99 and something else like that. I really think we're going to get something with like, obviously, I think we're going to get a lot of people going to Tantus. Rex, like.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think the clone army, or the clone army is going to raid Tantus.
Yeah, I think what's left, I really think they're going to raid Tantus. And I think they may. I think they may going to have some clones escape, and what's going to happen then is at the end of the show we'll see like the extermination of clones. Like they're just going to kill clones. Like they won't put up with it anymore, and they'll just kill clones.
So I actually have a thing with it. So in Rebels, though, or Rex, Gregor, and Wolf are living, the Empire knows they're there and decides to leave them alone. So do you really think like after kind of think about that, you really think they like kill all the clones and then it's like oh these three are on this one planet we know they're here we'll leave them alone.
That's a really interesting point. I mean, I think it really could be a thing that it could be a tactical thing that they don't want to mess with Rex. There's some type of agreement there that like if Rex, Gregor, and Wolf just live there
Mhm.
and they don't mess around, that they won't mess around with them. It's a really
Yeah,
good point.
because I
Because
also
I'll go ahead
okay
and finish.
yeah they could just also kind of just like they could just like they put a Star Destroyer right above where they're at. They rain fire and they're just done with it. So like unless there's an agreement there, like they don't really care about clones to this point. Maybe like they exterminate all the clones, that, like you said, and it gets to the point to where they're like so insignificant they just don't even bother anymore.
Right, because we do see the homeless clone in Kenobi, right? So like
Yeah,
that sort of thing. Yeah, I think actually your theory makes a lot more sense. Is that they don't really care about him anymore,
yeah. I
because
think
they're
once the
they're
Clone
exce-
Rebellion gets put to rest, they'll kind of just be like, okay, they're just there now.
yeah, they're accelerated aging and stuff like that. But we got to get to a point because Rex's network at this point is fairly large. It's alluded to that it's fairly large. Um, so yeah, I think that we'll get that answered in the next two episodes. Crosshair. What do you think about his story this episode, and what do you think? Where do you think it goes for him?
I'm happy that he like he's kind of like opened his eyes and woken up now fully, which is like really cool. I like how too like he didn't even try to escape because I feel like he kind of knew also he couldn't escape, and that the best thing he could do was warn his brothers, which was really good. That shows he still cares about them, and that like the finale of season one really meant something to him, like how they cared and they want to bring him with him. So yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I honestly think he's gonna die. I think he's done.
They're
Uh,
gonna kill the most interesting character.
yeah, I really think so. I really think at this point, like his story has come to a nice conclusion. Um, he he really went with what he believed. I think he believed in what the Empire was doing. Saw Grew compassionate to the Regs, and as we saw, he was not a big fan of the Regs and the Clone Wars and even the beginning of the Bad Batch. And then as it slowly went by him, like everything was, going away, his brothers, it finally hit a tipping point. He wasn't respected anymore. He was treated just as a number. There was really no peace and order. He was being replaced. All of these things led to the decision he made today. Um, so yeah, I really think that's the way we're gonna go. I really think that he is going to die in a sacrificial way. I really think he's going to be the one that helps them infiltrate Tantus. Once they get to him, he'll be the big reason that they get through. He'll help them, and then he'll sacrifice his life because he probably won't be able to live with the fact of what he did. There'll be some guilt with that, and I think he will die, but I think he'll be pretty big in saving the batch. And yeah, I think that's the way we go.
Yeah. And if he does that too, I really don't see I think this will definitely be a better topic of conversation for next week, of course, like the future of the Bad Batch, because I don't see an interesting future of the Bad Batch without Crosshair. But yeah, that's
I
also a question for next week as well.
No, I totally agree with that. I don't think that's a bad take at all. I think it's a really good take. Yeah, again, I think we are going to get a third season because there's a lot to wrap up. Sid's still out there. Uh, we don't know about other clones at this point. Um, we haven't even met Wolf yet. Like, I still
Yeah,
think there's some story. Probably one more season. I mean,
I, I can see it.
second season was a lot better in my opinion. So like significant upgrade. So
Yeah,
like
no, I think the season's overall better. I think season one has higher peaks, but I think season two as the season is better.
okay, I think that's totally fair. I think that's totally fair. I think we'll get a season three, and I think season three will probably be it.
Mhm.
And that would make sense. We'd be around 50 episodes at that point. Because we'll get to a point where we establish where Omega is because there's just too much to wrap up. In 2 episodes, you'd have to establish where they are. You'd have to kill them all.
Yeah,
You'd have to kill most of them.
You also have the
And
Cody stuff that isn't resolved. Like, you teased him.
Cody, Sid. I think Omega's got to live. Probably they're not gonna kill like a
They're not
child.
killing a child. Yeah.
They're not killing a child. That would be crazy. Now that would be nuts.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that sort of thing will happen. I think we'll get a season 3 because this whole thing with Sid out there because they're not just gonna leave like Sid because Sid was like an integral part of the of most of season 1 and partly of season 2. So
And
I think
even with Sid
well,
too, in my opinion, like what's she gonna do? Snitch? Like the Bad Batch is already gonna reveal themselves when they go to Mount Tantish. She gonna be like, guys, the Bad Batch is out there. Like, bro, they raided our base like last month. We know this.
I think season 3 might be a thing where it deals more with bounty hunters. I think it's
Mhm.
gonna lean into that more, like Boba, Cad,
Mhm.
Bosk, that sort of thing, the criminal underworld, because I think that's where Omega's gonna end up.
Mhm.
Doing that sort of thing, kind of like Hunter. Like Hunter, I see as like a Rambo, and I think Omega's gonna kind of adopt that almost.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's where it's gonna go. But I'm really excited. I think next week we will get obviously the confrontation at Tantus with a bunch of clones, a clone rebellion, kind of Andor-esque type of thing. Um,
Yeah. One way out.
but yes, but I think it's gonna lead to the death of most clones.
Yeah. I hope I kind of do hope. Like I said, this is me like a little fanboying a little bit with my boy Thrawn. It will be kind of I think fun in my opinion. Like since Thrawn like analyzes this, that, and the third, it'd be kind of funny if like the clones kind of just smoke Tantus, like because they're using like unusual tactics, like they're able to think for themselves. I think they're just able to just wipe the floor with Tantus. And in season 3, like you said, it's a little bit of a fanboy in me, but like Thrawn is the one that takes him up because like his whole thing is like to defeat an enemy, you must know them. It's like he
Right.
kind of like gets in the mind of the clones, thinks about this, and it'd be kind of cool if he kind of like follow like Thrawn just for a little bit, like taking out these like different patches, like groups of the clones, till eventually where they're like, oh, bro, we need to go back into hiding, and that's why maybe Rex, Gregor, and Wolf are like off on that planet because Thrawn just forced all of them to hide by how much he was like dominating them, or so it didn't even have to be Thrawn, just some smart Imperial.
No, I think that'd be really dope. I honestly think that would be really cool, and I would be down to see that. Honestly, I would be really down to see that. So yeah, I 100% agree.